Volume 2, The Book of the Secrets, a new commentary. Discourse number 4, given in Bombay, India.
The first question. In reference to your statement that Tantra is a love technique, please explain why modern man and woman have become incapable of love. Love is spontaneous. It cannot be controlled. You cannot make love. You cannot do anything about it. And the more you do, the more you will miss it. You have to allow it to happen. You are not needed for it. Your presence is the hindrance. The more absent, the better. When you are not, love happens. Because of this, modern man and woman have become incapable of love. They are capable of doing things. The whole modern mind is based on doing. So whatsoever can be done, modern man can do more efficiently than any man that has ever existed. Whatsoever can be done, we can do more efficiently. We are the most efficient century. We have turned everything into technology. How to do it? We have developed in one dimension, and that is the dimension of doing. But in developing this dimension, we have lost much. At the cost of being, we have learned how to do things. So that which can be done, we can do better than anyone, any society that ever existed on earth. But when the question of love comes, the problem arises because it cannot be done. And not only with love, all that which cannot be done, we have become incapable. For example, meditation, we have become incapable. It cannot be done. Play, we have become incapable. It cannot be done. Joy, happiness, we have become incapable because they cannot be done. They are not acts. You cannot manipulate them. On the contrary, you have to let go yourself. Then joy happens to you. Then happiness comes to you. Then love enters you. Then love takes possession. And because of this possession, we have become afraid. Modern mind, modern man wants to possess everything and not being possessed by anything. Modern man wants to be the master of everything. And you can be only masters of things, not of happenings. You can be the master of a house. You can be the master of a mechanical device. You cannot be the master of anything which is alive. Life cannot be mastered. You cannot possess it. On the contrary, you have to be possessed by it. Only then there is contact with it. Love is life. And it is greater than you. You cannot possess it. I would like to repeat it. Love is greater than you. You cannot possess it. You can only allow yourself to be possessed by it. It cannot be controlled. Modern ego wants to control everything. And whatsoever you cannot control, you become scared about it. You are afraid. You close the door. You close that dimension completely because fear enters. You will not be in control. With love, you cannot be in control. And the whole trend which has led to this century was how to control. All over the world, and particularly in the West, how to control nature, how to control everything, how to control energies. Man must become the master. And you have become master. Of course, only of those things which are possible to be possessed. But then side by side, you have been developing the incapacity for those things which cannot be possessed. So you can possess money, you cannot possess love. And because of this, we have been turning everything into a thing, even persons. We go on turning into things, because then you can possess them. If you love a person, you are not the master. No one is the master. Two persons love each other. No one is the master, neither the lover nor the beloved. Rather, love is the master. And both are possessed by a greater force than themselves, encircled by a greater force, a whirlwind. If they try to possess each other, they will miss. Then they can possess each other. Then the lover will become the husband and the beloved will become the wife. Then they can possess. But husband is a thing. Wife is a thing. They are not persons. You can possess them. They are dead entities, legal labels, not alive. We go on turning persons into things just to possess them. And then we feel frustrated. Because we wanted to possess the person. And the person cannot be possessed. When you possess it, it is no more the person, it is a dead thing. And you cannot be fulfilled by a dead thing. So look at this contradiction. You can be fulfilled only by persons, never by things. And your mind desires possession. So you turn them into things. Then you cannot be fulfilled, then frustration sets in. Possessiveness, the attitude to possess, has killed the capacity to love. Don't think in terms of possession. Rather think in terms of being possessed. That is what surrender means, being possessed. You allow yourself to be possessed by something greater than you. Then you will be not in control. Then a greater force will take you. Then the direction will not be yours. Then you cannot choose the goal. Then the future is unknown. You cannot be secure now. Moving with a greater force than yourself, you are insecure, afraid. If you are afraid and insecure, it is better not to move with the great forces. Just work with lower forces than you. Then you can be the master. And you can decide the goal beforehand. And you will get the goal. But you will not get anything out of it. Just you would have wasted your life. The secret of love and the secret of prayer and the secret of anything that can make you fulfilled is surrender. The capacity to be purchased. Because of this. And there are other reasons also, but this is the base. The other reasons, the first, is too much emphasis on intellect, the reason. So man is lopsided. Your head has grown, and your heart has remained absolutely neglected. And love is not a capacity of the intellect. It is a different center. It has a different locus, source. It is your heart. It is your feeling. It is not reasoning, but the whole modern education consists of reasoning, logic, intellect, mind. The heart is not even talked about. It is really denied. It is just a poetic fiction. It is not. It is a reality. Just look at it in this way. If from the very beginning a child is brought up without any training of the mind, any reasoning, any intellectual training, will he have an intellect? He cannot. There have been cases. Sometimes it has happened that wolves have brought a human child. Just 10 years before, one child was cut off from a forest. The wolves have brought him up. He was 14 years of age. He couldn't even stand on two legs. He will run on his force. He couldn't speak a single word. He will roll like a wolf. He was in every way a wolf. 14 years of age. Those who have caught him, they named him Ram. The child took 6 months to learn the name. And within a year, the child died. And the psychologists who were working on him, they suspect that he died because too much strain of intellect. This forcing, training to stand on 2 feet, this memory, remembering the name, this effort to make him a human being killed him. He was robust and healthy when he was caught, more healthy than any human being ever is. He was just like an animal. But this training killed him. And the only proof the child could give of his intellect was this much. After 6 months, constant training, punishment, creating a profit motive. Every effort was done. That if you could have asked, what is your name? He will say Ram. This was the whole intellect. What happened? If someone from Mars gets hold of this child, they will think humanity has no mind, no intellect, no reason. The same has happened to the heart. Without training, it is as if it is not. It has been completely neglected. So your whole life energy has been forced towards the head, not towards the heart. And love is a functioning of the heart center. That's why modern man has become incapable of love, because modern man has become incapable of a heart. He calculates, and love is not a calculation. He knows arithmetic. Love is not arithmetic. He thinks in terms of logic. Love is illogical. He always tries to rationalize everything whatsoever he is doing. Reason must support it. Love is not supported by reason. Really, when you fall in love, you throw your reason completely. That's why we say man falls in love. Falls from where? Falls from the head, down to the heart. And we use this term of condemnation, falling in love, because the head, the reason, cannot look it without condemning it. It is a fall. Really? Is love a fall or a rising? You become more with it or you become less. You expand or you shrink. With love you become more. Your consciousness is more. Your feeling is more. Your aesthetic sensation is more. Your sensitivity is more. You are more alive. But one thing is less. Reasoning is less. You cannot reason it out. It is blind. As far as reason is concerned, it is blind. The heart has its own reasons. That's another thing. And the heart has its own eyes. But that's another thing. The eyes of reason are not there. So reason says it is a fall. You have fallen. Unless the heart center starts functioning again, man will not be capable of love. And the whole misery of modern life is because unless man loves, he cannot feel any meaning in his life. Life looks meaningless. Love gives it meaning. Only love is the meaning. Unless you are capable of love, you will be meaningless. And you will feel that you are existing without any meaning. Futile. And suicide will become attractive. You would like to kill yourself, to finish with yourself, to end. Because what is the use of existing? Mere existing cannot be tolerated. Existence must have a meaning. Otherwise, what is the use? Why go on prolonging yourself unnecessarily? Why go on repeating the same pattern every day? Getting out of the bed and doing the same thing. And again, falling asleep, and the next day the same pattern? Why? You have done it so far. What has happened? And you will do it. Unless death comes and relieves you of your burden. So what is the use? Love gives meaning. Not that through love there any result comes into being or any goal. No. But through love, every moment becomes a value in itself. Then you never ask. If someone asks, what is the meaning of life? Know well that love is lacking. Whenever someone asks, what is the meaning of life? He is asking because he has not been able to flower in a love experience. Whenever someone is in love, he never asks, what is the meaning of life? He knows the meaning. There is no need to ask. He knows the meaning. The meaning is there. Love is the meaning in life. And through love, prayer is possible. Because prayer is again a love relationship. Not between two individuals, but between one individual and existence itself. Then the whole existence becomes your beloved or lover. But it is possible only through love experience that you can grow into prayer or into meditation. And the ultimate ecstasy is just like love. That's why Jesus says, God is love. Not that God is loving. Christians have been interpreting it in that way, that God is kind, loving. That is not the meaning. Jesus says God is love. He simply equals God in love. You can say love or you can say God. They both mean the same. God is not loving. God is love itself. If you can love, you have entered the divine. And when your love grows to such infinity that it is not concerned with anyone in particular, but has become a diffused phenomenon, there is no lover to you. Rather, the whole existence has become, all that is has become the lover or beloved. It has become prayer. And Tantra is a love method. So the first thing is how to love. And then the second thing is how to grow in love so that love becomes prayer. But one must start from love. And don't be afraid of love. Because that fear shows you are afraid of the heart. The head is cunning. The heart is innocent. With head you feel protected. With heart you become vulnerable. Open. Anything can happen. That's why we have become closed. The fear is there. If you are vulnerable, anything can happen to you. Someone can deceive you. With the mind, no one can deceive you. You can deceive others. But I will tell you, be ready to be deceived, but don't close the heart. Be ready to be deceived, but don't close the heart. That is worth it. That vulnerability to be deceived. Because you will not lose anything. And if you are ready to be deceived infinitely, only then you can believe in the heart. If you are calculative, cunning, clever, too much clever, then you will miss the heart. And modern man is so educated, so sophisticated, so clever. That's why he has become incapable of love. Women were not so, but they are following the modern man fast. They are copying the modern man fast. Sooner or later, they will become just like man. Or they may even overtake him. They are also now becoming incapable. Because the same head orientation, the same effort to be cunning and clever is there now. They may call it a lip movement or anything. But it is not heart oriented. It is just a copy of the same stupidity that man has been doing with himself. You may go to the other extreme. But if you follow and react, even in your reaction, you follow. A great crisis is there. It is difficult now to prevent women all over the world, prevent them from copying man and his nonsense. Because man seems to be so successful. He is successful in a way. He has become master of things. Now he possesses the whole world. Now the nature he feels he has conquered. And success succeeds. Nothing succeeds like success. And now women feel man has succeeded and has become the master. They must copy him. But look at the other thing also in which man has failed completely. He has lost his heart. He cannot love. Reason alone is not enough. And reason in control is dangerous. Heart must be higher than reason. Because reason is just an instrument. And heart is you. The heart must be allowed to use reason, not the vice versa. But we have been doing that. The head is allowed to dominate. In its domination, the head has killed the heart. And thirdly, one thing more has to be remembered. Why modern man has become incapable of love. Love is basically a sort of madness. A sort of deep participation with nature. A sort of dissolving the ego. It is primal. You are born out of love. Your every cell of the body is a love cell. Your very energy, life energy, is a love energy. You exist in it. But there is no ego in that energy. You cannot feel I. That energy is unconscious. And when you move in love, you become unconscious. Only a fragment of your mind is conscious. And in that fragment of the mind exists the ego. Mind has three layers. First, the unconscious. When you are deep asleep with no dreams, you are in it. The child in mother's womb is absolutely unconscious. He is just part of the mother. The child is not aware that I am separate. Just part of the mother. No separation. No defined existence. Undifferentiated with the mother. And with the existence itself. There is no fear. Because the fear comes only when you become aware of yourself. The child is totally at ease. He is unconscious. And the second layer is of consciousness. A very small fragment, 1/10th part of the unconscious, has become conscious in you through training, education, society, family, and it was needed to survive. So a part of it has become conscious. But that part also gets tired very soon. That's why you need sleep. In sleep you become again a child in the womb. You have fallen back. The conscious is no more there. It has become part of the unconscious. That's why sleep is so refreshing. In the morning you feel alive again, fresh, because you have fallen back to the mother's womb. You may not have observed. Observe someone deep asleep. More or less he will be in the same posture as he was in his mother's womb. And if you can be in the right posture, sleep will follow more easily. If you feel any difficulty in sleep, just feel your mother's womb, imagine, and take the posture you would have been in the mother's womb. In that posture you will fall asleep deeply. You need the same warmth. Otherwise sleep will be disturbed. The same warmth of your mother's womb. And that's why hot milk is good. If you sip hot milk before you're going into sleep, it will be good, because that again makes you a child. Milk is child food. And if hot, you are again at your mother's breast. Hot milk is good for sleep only because of this reason. You fall back into childhood. You are reduced to be a child. Sleep refreshes you. Why? Because the conscious mind gets tired. It is just a part, and the whole is unconscious. It has to fall down back to the whole. To get a revival, it is again resurrected. That's why morning you feel good, and morning looks beautiful, not because that only morning is beautiful, because again you have children's eyes. The afternoon is not so beautiful. The world is the same, but you have lost those innocent eyes again, and the evening has become ugly. You are tired. You have lived too much in the conscious. This conscious has the center as ego. These are two ordinary states we know. The third state, Tantra and Yoga, are concerned is the superconscious. The superconscious means when your whole unconscious has become conscious. In the unconscious there is no ego. You are total. In the superconscious again there is no ego. You are total. But in between the two, the conscious mind has a center, the ego. This ego is the problem. This ego creates problems. You cannot fall into love, because then you will have to become unconscious, just as unconscious as you become in sleep. Or if you want to rise into prayer, you will have to become totally conscious, like a Buddha or like a Mira. So love becomes impossible, prayer becomes impossible. The ego creates the barriers. You cannot lose yourself. And love is losing, dispersing, dissolving, melting. If you melt in the unconscious, it is love. If you melt into the superconscious, it is prayer. But both are meltings. So what is to be done? Remember this. You cannot do anything about it. Let it be deeply noted. You cannot do anything about love, about prayer. Your conscious mind is important. It cannot do anything. It has to be lost. It has to be put aside. And then remember surrender. Whenever you want to move beyond yourself, surrender is the way. Either in love or in prayer. Whenever you long to move beyond, somewhere else where you are not, surrender. Let go is the path. Allow some things to happen to you. Don't manipulate. And once you know how to allow, many things will start happening. You may not be even aware what is possible to you. What a great, tremendous energy you have closed within yourself, which can explode and can become an ecstasy. And whole life will be filled with consciousness, light and bliss. But you don't know. Just like every atom is an atom bomb. If it explodes, tremendous energy is released. And every heart is also an atom bomb. If it explodes in love or prayer, tremendous energy is released. But you have to explode and lose yourself. The seed has to lose itself. Only then the tree is born. And if the seed resists and says, no, I must survive, then the seed can survive. But the tree will never be born. And unless the tree is born, the seed will feel frustrated, because the tree is the meaning. The seed will feel frustrated. The seed can feel fulfilled only when the tree is there, flowering. But then the seed has to lose himself, die. Modern man has become incapable of love because he has become incapable of death. He cannot die to anything. He clings to life, cannot die to anything. In Old English, 300 or 400 years before, this was a usual expression. The lover will say to the beloved, I want to die in you. This was a love expression. Beautiful. I want to die in you. Love is a death. Death of the ego. And only then your real self is born. And modern man is very, very afraid of death. In any way, surrender is death. Love is death. And life also is a continuous death. If you are afraid, you will miss life itself. Be ready to die every moment. Die to the past, die to the future, and die in the present moment. Don't cling and don't resist. Don't make any effort for life, and you will have abundant life. Life will happen to you if you are ready to die. This looks paradoxical, but this is the law. Jesus says, one who is ready to lose will gain. And one who clings will lose everything. Second question. You said last night that the periphery is always changing, whereas the innermost center is eternally unmoving. To realize the center, is it necessary that the peripheral movements must cease? Can they cease? How and when? Then you have missed the whole point. The whole point was, don't make any effort to change the periphery. Allow the periphery as it is. And you cannot change it. It is the nature of the periphery to move and change. You cannot make it static. Nature is flux. It is so. You cannot make it static. And don't waste your time and opportunity in life to make it static. Just know it is change. Be the witness of it. And you will come to feel the innermost center, which is not change. The world is change. Your personality is change. Your body, mind is change. But you are not. You are not the change. So what is the use struggling with the change? No need. Tantra says, please be re-established in your center. Be aware of the center which is unmoving. And allow the whole existence to move. It is not a disturbance at all. It becomes only disturbance if you cling to it, or if you try to make it unmoving. Then you are falling in absurdities, foolish efforts. They will not succeed. You will be a failure. Know well that life is a change. But somewhere hidden in this change is an unmoving center also. Just become aware of it. That very awareness is enough to liberate you. That very feeling that I am unmoving liberates. That's the truth. You know it, and you are different. Don't fight with shadows. And whole life is a shadow, because change is nothing but shadow. The unchanging is the real. The changing is the unreal. So don't ask that to realize the center, how the peripheral change and movement has to be forced to cease. There is no need, and you cannot force it. It cannot cease. The world goes on. Only it will not go on in you. You can remain in the world, and there is no need for the world to be in you. The world is not a disturbance. When you get involved in it, when you become the change, or you feel that you have become the change, then it creates problems. Problems are created not by the changing periphery. They are created by the identification that I am this change. You have fallen ill. Illness is not really the disturbance. When you feel that I have fallen ill, it is disturbance. If you can be a witness of that illness, illness is happening somewhere on the periphery. It is not happening to you. It is happening to someone else. You are just the witness. Then death also can happen, but you will be just the witness. Alexander was returning back from India. Some friends in his country had requested him to bring a sannyasin from India. And when you come with conquered possessions, don't forget, they have said, bring a sannyasin also. We want to see what a sannyasin is. What type of a man is one who renounces the world? What has happened to him who renounces all desires? What type of bliss comes to him who leaves all hankering, thirst, all hunger for future, possessions, things. Just in the last moment, Alexander remembered. So in the last town where he was to leave India, back to his country, he told his soldiers to go and find out a sannyasi. So they went to the town and they asked the old man of the town. So they said, yes, there is a sannyasin, a great sannyasin, but it will be difficult. It is very difficult to persuade him to go with Alexander to Athens. But the soldiers were soldiers. They said, you don't be worried about it. He can force anyone. So you don't get worried about it. Just tell us where he is. And we know how to force him. There is no need to persuade. And if Alexander says to your whole town to follow him, you will have to follow. So what of a single sannyasi? But the old man laughed. And the soldiers couldn't understand. Because they have never encountered a sannyasi. So they reached to the sannyasi and he was standing naked on the bank of the river. And they told him that Alexander's orders that you have to come with us. And every care will be taken. No inconvenience will be for you. You will be the royal guest, but you have to come with us to Athens. The sannyasin laughed. And he said, it will be very difficult for your Alexander to take me with himself. No force in this world can force me to follow. So it is better. You will not be able to understand. Bring your Alexander. Alexander was disturbed, felt insulted, but he wanted to see this man. He came with a naked sword. And he said, if you say no, then immediately you lose your life. I will cut your head. The name of the sannyasi was, as it is reported in Alexander's regard, Gandhi. The sannyasi said, he again laughed and said, but you came late, a little late. You cannot kill me now because I have killed myself already. You are a little late. You can cut my head, but you cannot cut me because I have become a witness. So when this head will fall down on the earth, you will also see it falling down and I will also see it falling down. But you cannot cut me, you cannot even touch me. So don't waste time. You can cut. Raise your sword and cut the head. Alexander couldn't kill that man. It was impossible because it was useless. The man was so beyond death. It was impossible to kill him. Only you can be killed if you cling to life. That clinging to the changing pattern makes you immortal. If you don't cling, you have always been an immortal. Immortality is your birthright. It has always been there. You become immortal if you cling. So there is no question, there is no need to force the changing periphery, to make it static. There is no need, and you cannot make it. It will go on. The wheel will go on. All that you can do is to know that you are not the wheel. You are the axis, not the wheel. Question. Man being as he is it not difficult for him to dissolve change through change, sex through sex, etc., without attachments, with their consequent anxiety and disappointment? Man as he is can do this. And this is suggested only for the man as he is. Tantra is a medicine for you, for those who are ill. So don't think that it is not for you, it is for you. And you can do it. But you will have to understand what is meant. When you say that there is the possibility of falling in attachments, and then the consequences will be there, and frustration, you have not understood. Consume change through change means, even if there is attachment, don't fight with it. Be attached. But be a witness also. Let the attachment be there. Don't fight with it. Tantra is a non-fighting process. Don't fight with it. Frustration will come, of course. So be frustrated. But be a witness also. You know well you were attached. You were a witness. Now the frustration has come. You know well it has to come. Now be frustrated. But be a witness. Then through attachment, attachment is consumed. And through frustration, frustration is consumed. Try this. When you feel miserable, be miserable. Don't fight with it. Try this. It is wonderful. When there is misery and you feel miserable, close your doors and be miserable. Now what you can do? You are miserable, so you are miserable. Now be totally miserable. Suddenly you will become aware of the misery. And if you try to change it, you will never become aware because your effort, your energy, your consciousness is directed towards change. How to change this misery? Then you started thinking how it came. And now what to do to change it? And you are missing a very beautiful experience, the misery itself. Now you are thinking about the causes and you are thinking about the consequences and you are thinking about the methods, how to forget it, how to go beyond it, and you are missing misery itself. And misery is there, and that can be liberating. Just don't do anything. Don't analyze how the misery is created. Don't think what consequences are going to follow. They will follow so you can see later on. There is no haste. Be miserable, simply miserable, and don't try to change it. Try this for how many minutes you can remain miserable. You will start laughing about the whole thing. The whole thing will look stupid. Because if you are totally miserable, suddenly your center is beyond. That center can never be miserable. It is impossible. If you remain with the misery becomes the background, and your center, which can never be miserable, suddenly rises above. And then you are miserable, and you are not miserable. The same, unsame. Now you are consuming misery through misery. This is what is meant. You are not doing anything, you are simply consuming misery through misery. Misery will disappear as clouds disappear. And the sky will be open. And you will be laughing. And you have not done anything. And you cannot do anything. All that you can do, you can create more confusion and more misery. Who has created this misery? You. And now you are trying to change it. It will get worse. You are the creator of the misery. You have created it. You are the source. And now the source itself is trying. What can you do? Now the patient is treating himself. And he has created the whole thing. Now he is thinking of surgery. It is suicidal. Don't do anything. The insight is very deep. Try this. You have tried so many times to stop misery, to stop depression, to stop this and that, and nothing has happened. Now try this. Don't do anything. Allow the misery to be there in its totality. In the full intensity, allow it to happen. And remain non-doing. Just be with it and see what happens. Life is change. Even Himalaya is changing. Your misery cannot be unchanging. It will change by itself. And you will see that it is changing. Now it is disappearing. Now it is going away. And you will feel unburdened. And you have not done anything. Once you know the secret, you can consume anything through itself. But the secret is to be silently without doing anything. Anger is there, be. Just be. Don't do anything. If you can do this much, this non-doing, if you can just be there, present, witnessing, but making no effort to change anything, allowing the things to have their own way, you will consume anything. You can consume anything. The last question. Tantra says, do not struggle or swim, but let go and float in the river of life. But experience shows that modern city life of speed and heavy technology creates constant tensions and exertions, physically and mentally. What will be the Tantra attitude about it? Is it not good to avoid unnecessary exertions? Life has always been so, modern or primitive. Tensions are there. Anxieties are there. Objects change. Man remains the same. 2000 years back, you were driving a bullock cart, now you are driving a car. But the driver remains the same. The bullock cart has changed. Things are different now. You are driving a car. But the driver remains the same. He was anxious about his cart, tense about his cart. Now you are tense and anxious about your car. Objects change. The mind remains the same. So don't think that because of the modern life, you are so much in anxiety. It is because of you, not because of modern life. And you will be in anxiety anywhere, in any type of civilization. Go to a village. For a few days, 2 or 3 days, you will feel good. Because even diseases need readjustment. Within 3 days, you will be readjusted to village. And now anxieties will start coming. Disturbances will be felt again. Now the same will not be the causes, but you are the same. Sometimes it happens that you may be disturbed because of city traffic and noise. And you may be saying that you cannot sleep in the night because there is so much traffic and noise. And go to a village, and you will not be able to sleep because there is no traffic and no noise. And you will have to come back. That the village looks dull, dead, there is no life. People go on reporting to me. One friend, I told him to go to Kashmir, to Pahalgam. He came back and said, life is dull there. There is no life. And you can enjoy for 1 or 2 days valleys and hills, and then one gets bored. And he was telling me here that city life is getting on my nerves. And now he says those hills. I was getting bored. And I started longing back, how to come back to home. You are the problem. Kashmir will not be of any help. It is not Bombay that disturbs you or London or New York. It is you. And it is not that London has created you, you have created the London. It is not that this traffic and this noise and this mad rush. You have created this. You and others like you. Look, the cause is within you. It is not that you are tense because of noise. The noise is there because you are tense and you cannot live without it. That's why it is there. You need it. You cannot live without it. And in village, people are suffering. They want to come to Bombay, to New York, to London. And the moment they get the opportunity, they run from there. And I have been listening to people who go on talking about the beautiful village life, but they never go to live there. They never go to live there. They simply talk about it. Who prevents you? Why not go? Go to the forest. Who prevents you? You will not like it. You cannot like it. Right now you will like it for a few days because it is a change. And then you will get bored, dull. And then you would like to escape from there. This city life is created by your mad mind. You are not getting mad because of these cities. These cities are built because of your mad mind. They are built for you and by you, and they exist for you. And unless this mad mind changes, these cities cannot disappear. They will have to remain. They are your byproduct. Remember one thing. Whenever you feel something wrong, first find out the cause in yourself. Don't go anywhere. Out of 100, 99 times, you will find the cause within you. And if you can find out of 199% causes within you, the 100th will disappear by itself. You are the cause. Whatsoever is happening to you, you are the cause. And the whole world is just a mirror. But it is consolatory always to find the cause somewhere else. Then you never feel guilt. You never feel self-condemned. You can always point out, here is the cause. And unless this cause changes, how can I change? You can escape in it. This is a trick. So always your mind goes on projecting causes somewhere else. The wife is disturbed because of the husband. The mother is disturbed because of the children. The children are disturbed because of the father. Everyone is disturbed because of someone else. And everyone always thinks that the cause exists outside. Mullah Nasruddin was passing down a street. It was evening and the darkness was descending. Suddenly he became aware the street was empty, no traffic. And he became afraid. A group of people was coming towards him and he was reading about dacoits, robbers, murderers. So he created fear. He started trembling. He projected. Now these murderers and dacoits are coming and they are bound to kill me. So how to escape them? He saw all around there was a cemetery. So he jumped the wall of the cemetery. And there was a ready-made grave for someone. So he thought it is good to be dead in this grave. They will feel he is dead, there is no need to murder. So Mullah lied down. The group was just a marriage procession. But they saw this man trembling, jumping, so they became afraid. What is the matter? Who is this man? Seems to do some mischief. He is hiding there. So the whole procession stopped. They jumped the wall. Mullah became more afraid, but now they came near. And they asked, what are you doing here? Why are you here in this grave? So Mullah said, you are asking a very difficult question. I am here because of you, and you are here because of me. And this is happening everywhere. You are disturbed because of someone else. He is disturbed because of you. And just creating everything around you, projecting, and then getting afraid, scared, making efforts to defend, and then misery and frustration and conflict and depression and fighting them. The whole thing is stupid. And it will remain unless you change the attitude and always try first to find the cause within you. How the traffic noise can disturb you? How? If you are against it, it will disturb. If you have the attitude that it disturbs, it will disturb. But if you are accepting, allowing it to happen, with no reaction, you may even start enjoying it. It has its own melody, its own music. You have not heard, that doesn't mean that it has not its own music. Someday forget yourself and just listen to the traffic noise. Just listen. Don't bring your attitudes that this is disturbing, this is not good. Don't bring your attitudes. Just listen to the melody. In the beginning it will look chaotic. That too is because of the mind. If you relax totally, sooner or later everything will fit in a harmonious whole. And even the traffic noise will become musical. And you can enjoy it. And you can dance to its tune. It depends on you. Nothing disturbs unless you think that it disturbs. For example, I will tell you. Many things have disturbed humanity because there was a certain concept that they disturb. When the concept changes, the things remain the same, but they don't disturb. For example, masturbation disturbed the whole world. Just half century before, the whole world was disturbed by masturbation. Every teacher, every father, every mother was disturbed, and every child was disturbed. And still, on the larger, ignorant world, the disturbance remains. And then physiologists, psychologists discovered that masturbation cannot disturb anyone. It is natural. And nothing is wrong with it. Nothing absolutely wrong with it. But old teaching was that if you get mad, it is because of masturbation. If you are not getting higher ranks into education, it is because of masturbation. If you are ill, it is because of masturbation. Everything was forced down, reduced to masturbation. And more or less every child was doing it. Every boy was doing it. So every boy was afraid. He was doing it, and he was afraid now he is going to be mad, inferior, crazy, eccentric, ill, and the life is wasted. And he couldn't resist. He had to do it, and these ideas entered in his mind. And they had effects. They affected many went mad. Many remained inferior. Many remained stupid because of it. And it has no relationship at all. And the modern science, the modern research says, rather it is healthy. The medical science says it is good. Because at the age of 14 or 13, the boy, or at the age of 12 and 13, the girl, they become sexually mature. If nature is allowed, they must get married immediately. They are ready to reproduce. But civilization, necessity forces, they will have to remain unmarried for 10 years at least, or even more. And medicine says 14 to 20, these 6 years, are the most potent sexually. Now the boy will never be so potent again as he is now. The energy is bubbling up. The whole body is ready to burst in sex. And the society says, no, the energy should not be allowed to move. But the energy is moving and the child cannot do anything. And whatsoever he is going to do will have effects because of the philosophy around. He will feel he is doing something wrong. He will feel guilt. And that guilt will follow as a shadow. And many diseases will happen because of the idea, not because of the act. Medicine says it is healthy because he is relieved of unnecessary energy. Otherwise that unnecessary energy will create problems. So it is healthy. Now they are propagating, particularly in America, England, and other Western developed countries who know much more about physiology. Now they are propagating masturbation. Now there are films to show to the children how to masturbate. And every teacher will be teaching sooner or later how to masturbate rightly. And they say it is healthy. And now those who think it is healthy, they feel very healthy about it. I don't think it is either. It is neither healthy nor unhealthy. The idea. If it is healthy, and the concept is stretched, it will become healthy. Now they say, not only that masturbation never affected anyone's intelligence, they say, better the intelligence, more masturbation will be there. So a boy who is masturbating more will be of higher IQ than the boy who is not masturbating. And they have reasons to say. Because even to find out masturbation is a sign of intelligence, because he is finding out a way. The society has closed the door for marriage. And the nature is forcing the energy. The intelligent one will find out a way, and the non-intelligent one will be just blocked. He will not be able to find out the way. And now the studies show that those boys who masturbate, they are more intelligent. If this idea is stretched, and it is bound to be there, sooner or later the whole world will be under this idea, then masturbation will be healthy and you will feel well-being. Now every parent is afraid, because the parent knows what he did when he was young. When his boy becomes young and comes to the same age, he becomes afraid. And he starts looking around what the boy is doing. He is afraid, and if he finds the boy, he will punish. But the new knowledge says, don't punish the boy, rather teach him. And if he is not doing, then go to the doctor and find out what is wrong. If this becomes a well-spread knowledge, then it will happen. But both are suggestions. Both are suggestions. And when some boy masturbates, he is very suggestive in that moment. Because when sexual energy is being released, he becomes vulnerable, open, flexible, and his mind is silent. Any idea put in that moment will have effects. So if you say you are going to be ill because of it, he will feel. If you say you are going to be healthy because of it, he will become healthy. If you say you will be stupid all your life if you do this, he will remain a dunce. If you say now, this is a good sign of intelligence, he may get a higher IQ. You are simply suggesting in a very vulnerable moment. Whatsoever you think starts happening. Buddha is reported to have said that every thought will become a thing. So be aware. If you think that the traffic noise disturbs you, it will disturb you. You are ready for disturbance. If you think a family life is bondage, it will be a bondage to you. You are ready for it. If you think that poverty will help, and poverty will make you liberated, it will help. It is you, ultimately, who is creating a world around you. And whatsoever you think becomes the new sphere, the milieu, and you exist in it. Tantra says, remember this causality. It is always within you. And if you know this, then you will not cause anything. If you know this, you will not cause anything for yourself. And when someone is not causing anything, he is liberated. Then he is not in misery and not in bliss. Remember this. Bliss is also your creation. Misery is also your creation. You can change your misery into bliss because they are your creations. And the liberated one, really the enlightened one, is neither. Because he has ceased to cause anything around him. He simply is. That's why Buddha never says that the enlightened one is blissful. Whenever someone asks him, tell us something about one who has gone beyond, whether he is in perfect bliss, Buddha laughs and he says, don't ask. I can say only this much, that he is not in misery. I cannot say anything more. He is not in misery, that's all I can say. Why so much insistence on the negative? Because Buddha knows when you have come to know that you were the cause of your misery, then you know well that the bliss also is caused by you. And then one ceases to cause anything. That is what nirvana is. Cessation of causing anything around you. Then you are simply no misery, no bliss. And if you can understand, only this is bliss when there is no misery and no bliss. Because if there is bliss, misery is there. You are still causing something. And if you can cause bliss, you can cause misery. And you will get bored of the bliss also. How much you can stand it? How much? Have you ever thought that 24 hours in bliss, will you be able to extend it? You will get bored. And you will go on seeking teachers who can teach you how to get miserable again.
Osho, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Volume 2, The Book of the Secrets, a new commentary. Discourse number 5, given in Bombay, India.
Men can be considered in three ways. The normal, the abnormal, and the supernormal. Western psychology is basically concerned with the abnormal, the pathological. Men who has fallen down from the normal, who has fallen down from the norm. Eastern psychology, Tantra and Yoga, they consider man from the standpoint of the supernormal, one who has gone beyond the norm. Both are abnormal. One who is pathological is abnormal because he is not healthy. And one who is supernormal is also abnormal because he is more healthy than any normal human being. The difference is of negative and positive. Western psychology developed as part of therapy. Freud, Jung and Adler and other psychologists, they were treating the abnormal man, the ill man, mentally ill. Because of this, the whole Western attitude towards man has become erroneous. Freud was studying pathological cases. Of course, no healthy man would go to him. Only those who were mentally ill, they were studied by him. And on that study, he thought that now he understands man. Pathological men are not really men. They are ill. And anything based on their study is bound to be deeply erroneous and harmful. And it has proved harmful. Because man is looked from a standpoint, and a particular state of mind is chosen, and that state is ill, pathological. The whole image of man becomes disease-based. Because of this attitude, the whole Western society has fallen down. Because the ill man is the base. The perverted has become the foundation. And if you look at the abnormal, you cannot conceive any possibility of supernormal beings. A Buddha is impossible for Freud. Not conceivable. It must be fictitious. Fiction. Myth. But a Buddha cannot be a reality. Freud has come in contact only with ill men who are not even normal. And whatsoever he says about normal men is based on the study of abnormal men. It is just like a physician studying. No healthy man will go to him. There is no need. And only unhealthy people come. And studying so many unhealthy people, he creates a picture in his mind of men. That picture is not of men. That cannot be. Because man is not only illnesses. And if you base your concept of man on illnesses, the whole society will suffer. Eastern psychology, particularly Tantra and Yoga, they also have a concept of man. But that concept is based on the study of supernormal. Buddha, Patanjali, Sankara, Nagarjuna, Kabir, Nanak. Persons who have reached to the peak of human potentiality and possibility. The lowest has not been considered, but the highest. If you consider the highest, your mind becomes an opening. You can grow. Because now you know higher reaches are possible. If you consider the lowest, no growth is possible. There is no challenge. If you are normal, you feel happy, it is enough. That you are not perverted. That you are not in a mental asylum. You can feel good. There is no challenge. But if you seek the supernormal, the highest possibility that you can become, if someone has become that possibility, the possibility has become actual in someone, then a growth opens. You can grow. A challenge comes to you, and you need not be satisfied with yourself. Higher reaches are possible, and they are calling you. This must be understood deeply. Only then Tantra psychology will be conceivable. Whatsoever you are is not the end. You are just in the middle. You can fall down. You can rise up. Your growth has not finished. You are not the end product. You are just a passage. Something is growing constantly in you. Tantra indicates, thinks, conceives. This is the whole technique on this growth possibility. And remember, unless you become that which you can become, you will not feel fulfilled. You must become that which you can become. It is a must. Otherwise, you will feel frustrated. You will feel meaningless. You will feel there is no purpose in life. You can carry on, but there can be no joy in it. And you may succeed in many other things, but you will fail with yourself. And this is happening. Someone becomes very rich. And everyone thinks now he has succeeded. Except himself. Everyone thinks he has succeeded. He knows the failure. That he has failed. Wealth is there. But he has failed. You see, a great man, a leader, a politician, everyone thinks they have succeeded. And they have failed. This world is strange. You succeed in everyone's eyes except your own. People come to me daily. They say, we have got everything. Now what? We are failures. Where they have failed. As far as outward things are concerned, they have not failed. But why they feel this failure? Their inner potentiality has remained potential. They have not flowered. What Maslow calls, they have not achieved self-actualization. They are failures, inner failures. And ultimately, what others say is meaningless. What you feel is meaningful. If you feel you are a failure, others may think you are a Napoleon or a Alexander the Great. Makes no sense. Rather, it depresses you more. Because everyone thinks you are a success. And now you cannot say that you are not. And you know you are not. You cannot deceive yourself. As far as self-actualization is concerned, you cannot deceive. Sooner or later, you will have to fall upon yourself and look deeply what has happened. The life is wasted. You have given up the opportunity and gathered things which mean nothing. Self-actualization means what is the highest peak of your growth, where you can feel a deep content that no, this is my destiny. This is what I was meant for. This is what I was here on earth. Tantra is concerned with that self-actualization. How to help you grow more. And remember, it is concerned with you, not with ideals. Tantra is not concerned with ideals. It is concerned with you, as you are and as you can become. The difference is great. All moral teachings are concerned with ideals. They say become like Buddha, become like Jesus, become like this or that. They have ideals. And you have to become like those ideals. Tantra has no ideal for you. Your unknown ideal is hidden within you. It cannot be given to you. You are not to become Buddha. There is no need. One Buddha is enough. And no repetition is of any value. Existence is always unique. It never repeats. Repetition is boredom. Existence is always new, eternally new. So even a Buddha is not repeated. Such a beautiful phenomena left unrepeated. Why? Because even if a Buddha is repeated, that will create boredom. What is the use? Only the unique is meaningful. Copies are not meaningful. If you are first hand, only then your destiny is fulfilled. If you are second hand, you are missed. So Tantra never says be like this or that. There is no ideal. Tantra never talks about ideals. Hence the name Tantra. Tantra always talks about techniques, never about the ideals. It says how you can become. It never says what. Because of that how, technique. Tantra means technique. The very word Tantra means technique. It is concerned how you can become. What? It is not concerned. That what will be supplied by your growth. You just use the techniques and your inner potentiality will become by and by actual. The uncharted possibility will become open. And as it opens, you will realize what it is. And no one can say what it is. Unless you become. No one can predict what you can become. So Tantra gives you only techniques, never ideals. This is the difference from all moral teachings. Moral teachings always give ideals. Even if they talk about techniques, those techniques are always for particular ideals. Tantra gives no ideal to you. You are the ideal. And your future is unknown. From the past, no ideal can be of any help because nothing can be repeated. And repeated, it is meaningless. Zen monks say that remember and be alert. In your meditations, if you meet the Buddha, kill him immediately. Don't allow to stand there. And Zen monks are Buddha's followers. And they say, kill Buddha immediately if you meet him in your meditation. Because the personality, the ideal of Buddha, may become so hypnotizing, you may forget yourself. And if you forget yourself, you have missed the path. Buddha is not the ideal. You are the ideal, your unknown future, hidden. That has to be discovered. Tantra gives you techniques of discovery. The treasure is within you. So remember this second thing. It is very difficult to believe that you are the ideal. Difficult for yourself to believe, because everyone is condemning you. No one accepts you, not even you yourself. You go on condemning yourself. You always think in terms of someone else to be like that. That is false, dangerous. If you go on thinking like that, you will become a fake person. And everything will be phony. Do you know from where this word phony comes? It comes from telephone. In the beginning, the transmission of the telephones was so false, unreal, that the real voice and the phony voice heard from a telephone, mechanical, and the realness was lost just in the beginning days. From that comes the word phony. If you are imitating someone else, you will become phony. You will not be real. A mechanical device will be all around you, and your reality and your real voice will be lost. So don't be phony. Be real. Tantra believes in you. That's why there are so few believers of Tantra, because no one believes in himself. And Tantra believes in you. And Tantra says you are the ideal. And don't imitate anyone. Imitation will create a pseudo-personality around you. And you can go on moving with that pseudo-personality thinking it is yourself. It is not. Second thing to remember is that there is no ideal, fixed. You cannot think in terms of future. You can think only in terms of the present and just the immediate future in which you can grow. No fixed future is there. And it is good that there is no fixed future. Otherwise there will be no freedom. If there is fixed future, man will be a robot. You have no fixed future. You have multi-possibilities. You can grow in many ways. But only thing that will give you ultimate contentment is that you grow. And grow in such a way that every growth produces further growth. That's why techniques are helpful, because they are scientific. And you are saved from unnecessary wandering, unnecessary groping. If you don't know any technique, you will take many lives. You will reach the goal. Because the life energy within you will move unless it comes to the point where no movement is possible to the highest peak. It will go on moving. That's the reason why one goes on being born again and again. Left to yourself, you will reach it. But you will have to travel very, very long. And the journey will look very tedious and boring. With a master, with scientific techniques, you can save much time, opportunity, energy. And sometimes within seconds, you can grow so much that within life even, you may not be able to grow. If a right technique is used, the growth explodes. And these techniques have been found in millions of years' experiments. They were not devised by one man. They were devised by many, many seekers. Only the essence is given here. And in these techniques, all the techniques have been covered from all over the world. Nowhere exists any technique which is not covered in these 112. This is the whole spiritual search in essence. But all the techniques are not for everyone. So you will have to try. Only certain techniques will be of help to you. And you will have to find out. There are only two ways. Either you try on your own, then trial and error. Then you stumble upon something. It starts working, you start growing, and then you move in it. Or you surrender to some teacher. And then he finds out what will suit you. These are the two ways. You can choose. Now, the technique. First technique. Consider your essence as light rays from center to center up the vertebra, and so rises livingness in you. Many yoga methods are based on this. First understand what it is, then the application. The vertebra, your backbone, the spine, is the base of your body and mind both. Your mind, your head, is just the end part of your spine. The whole body is rooted in the spine. If the spine is young, you are young. If the spine is old, you are old. If you can keep your spine young, oldness will be difficult. Everything depends on your spine. If your spine is alive, you will have a very brilliant mind. If the spine is dull and dead, you will have a dull mind. So the whole yoga tries in many ways to make your spine alive, brilliant, filled with light, young and fresh. The spine has two ends. The beginning is the sex center, and the end is Sahasrara. The beginning of the spine is attached to earth, and sex is the most earthly thing in you. From your spine's beginning center, the first center, you are in contact with nature. What Sankhya has called Prakriti, the earth, the material. From the last center, or the second pole of the spine, which is Sahasrara in the head, you are in contact with the divine. These are two poles of your existence. First is sex, and second is Sahasrara. There is no word for Sahasrara in English. These are the two poles. Either your life will be sex-oriented or Sahasrara-oriented. Either your life energy will be flowing down from the sex center to the earth back, or your energy will be released from the Sahasrara into the cosmos. From the Sahasrara, you flow into Brahma, into the absolute existence. From sex, you flow down into the relative existence. And these are two flows and two possibilities. Unless you start flowing upwards, your misery will never end. You may have glimpses of happiness, but only glimpses and very illusory. When the energy starts moving upwards, you will have more and more real glimpses. And once it reaches Sahasrara and is released from there, you have the absolute bliss with you. That is nirvana. Then there is no glimpse, you become the bliss itself. So the whole thing for yoga and tantra is how to help the energy move upwards through the vertebrae, through the spinal column. How to help it go against gravitation. Sex is very easy because it follows gravitation. The earth is pulling everything down, back. Your sex energy is being pulled by the earth. You may not have heard, but astronauts have felt it, that the moment they move beyond earth gravitation, they don't feel much sexuality. As the body loses weight, sexuality is dissolved, disappears. The earth is pulling your life energy down. And it is natural because the life energy comes from the earth. You are eating food, creating life energy within you. It is coming from earth. And the earth is pulling it back. Everything goes to its source. And if this moves in this way, life energy going back again and again, you are moving in a circle. You will go on moving for life and life. You can go on moving infinitely. Unless you take a jump, just like astronauts. You take a jump and you move beyond this circle. And the pattern of the earth's gravitation is broken. It can be broken. And the techniques are here how it can be broken. And how the energy moves vertical, rises up within you, reaches new centers, reveals new energies within you, makes you a new person with every move. And the moment it is released from your sahasrara, the opposite pole of sex, you are no more man. You don't belong to this earth. You have become divine. That's what is meant by when we say Krishna is God or Buddha is God. Their bodies are just like you. Their bodies will have to die. Their bodies fall ill. And everything happens to their bodies as it happens to you. Only one thing is not happening to their bodies as it happens to you. The energy has broken the gravitation pattern. But that you cannot see. That is not visible to your eyes. But you can feel, sometimes sitting by the side of a Buddha, suddenly you feel an upsurge of energy within you. And your energy starts moving upwards. Only then you know that something has happened. Even in contact with a Buddha, your energy moves upwards towards the sahasrara. A Buddha is so powerful that even earth is less powerful. Cannot gravitate your energy downwards. Those who have felt this around someone, Jesus, a Buddha, a Krishna, they have called them gods. They have a different source of energy, which is stronger than the earth. Be useful. You can break the pattern. Understand something basic. One, if you observe at all, you must have observed, your sex energy moves with imagination. It is imaginative. Just through imagination, your sex center starts functioning. Really, without imagination, it cannot function. That's why, if you are in love with someone, it functions better. Because with love, imagination enters. If you are not in love, it is very difficult. It will not function. That is one of the reasons male prostitutes were not found in the old days. Only women prostitutes. Because it is difficult for a male prostitute if he has no love. And how can he have any love? Just because of money. You can pay to a man to have intercourse with you, but if he has no imagination for you, he cannot function. Women can function because their sex is passive. Really, their functioning is not needed. They may be totally detached. They may not be at all feeling. Their body may just be there as a cause. And it is there as a cause. With a prostitute, you are not making love with a real body. It is a dead corpse. But women could be prostitutes easily. Their sex is passive. Sex center functions through imagination. That's why even in dreams, you can get erection, ejaculation. So acute. Dream is just imagination. It has been observed now that every man is physically fit will have at least 10 erections in the night. With every movement of the mind, a slight thought of sex, and the erection will come. Your mind has many energies, many faculties. One is will. You cannot will sex. Will is impotent for sex. So if you try to love someone, you will feel you have gone impotent. So never try. Will never function with sex. Only imagination will function. Imagine. And the center starts functioning. Why I'm emphasizing this fact? Because if imagination helps the energy to move, then you can move it upwards or downwards, just by imagination. You cannot move your blood by imagination. You cannot do anything else in the body by imagination. But such energy can move through imagination. And then you can change the direction. This sutra, consider your essence as light rays. Think yourself, your being as light rays. From center to center up the spine, and so rises livingness in you. Yoga has divided your spine in 7 centers to 5 centers. Some systems divide in 9, some in 3, some in 4. The division is not very meaningful. You can make your own division. Just 4 centers are enough to work. First, the sex center. Second, just behind the navel. Third, just behind the heart. Fourth, just behind your 2 eyebrows, just between on your forehead. And the fifth, Sahasrara, just on the peak of your head. These 5 will do. This sutra says, consider yourself, means imagine yourself, close your eyes and imagine yourself just as if you are light. And this is not just imagination. In the beginning it is reality also. Because everything consists of light. Now science says everything consists of electricity. And Tantra has always been saying everything consists of light particles. You also. That's why Quran says God is light. You are light. Just imagine first that you are just light rays. Then move your imagination to the sex center. Concentrate there. And feel that from sex center, light rays are rising upwards. As if sex center has become a source of light. And light rays are moving in an upsurge upwards towards the navel center. Division is needed because it will be difficult for you to connect sex center with Sahasrara. So smaller divisions will be of help. If you can connect, no divisions are needed. You can just drop all divisions from your sex center. Energy, life force, as light, rising up towards the Sahasrara. But divisions will be helpful because your mind can conceive smaller fragments more easily. So just feel from your sex center to your navel, energy is rising upwards as a river of light. Just light rays. And you will feel immediately a warmth rising in you. Soon your navel will become hot. You can even feel that hotness. Even others can feel that hotness. With your imagination, the sex energy has started rising. When you feel now the second center at the navel has become a source of light, rays are coming and being collected, accumulated there, then it starts to this next, to the heart center. As light will reach to your heart center and rays will be coming, your heartbeats will change. Your breathing will become deeper. And a warmth will come to your heart. Go on upwards. Consider your essence as light rays from center to center up the vertebra, and so rises livingness in you. And as you will feel warmth, just side by side you will feel a livingness, a new life coming to you. The inward life rising up. Sex energy has 2 parts. One is physical, another is psychic. In your body, everything has 2 parts. Just as your body and mind. Everything in you has 2 parts. One material, another is spiritual. Sex energy has 2 parts. The material is semen. It cannot rise upwards. There is no passage for it. And because of this, many physiologists of the West have denied completely that Tantra and Yoga methods are nonsense. Because how sex energy can rise up? There is no passage. It cannot rise. And they are right, and it's still wrong. Semen, the material part, cannot rise. But that is not the whole of it. Really, it is only the body of sex energy. It is not the sex energy. Sex energy is the psychic part of it, and that psychic part can rise. And for that psychic part, this passage is to be used. Spine passage, centers. But that has to be felt. And our feeling has gone dead. I remember somewhere, one psychotherapist writes about a patient, a woman. He was telling her to feel something. But the therapist felt that whatsoever she did was not feeling, but thinking about feeling. And that's a different thing. So the therapist put his hand on that woman's hand and pressed it. And told her, close your eyes and tell me what you feel. So she said, immediately, I feel your hand. But the therapist said, no, this is not your feeling. This is just your thinking, inference. Because I have put my hand in your hand, you say that you are feeling my hand, but this is not, this is inference. Try again. What do you feel? So she said, I feel your fingers. But the therapist again said, no, this is again not feeling. You don't infer anything. You just close your eyes and move to the place where my hand is, and then tell me what you feel. Then she said, oh, I was missing the whole thing. I feel pressure and warmth. When a hand touches you, a hand is not felt. Pressure and warmth. Hand is just inference. It is intellect, not feeling. Warmth and pressure, that is feeling. Now she is feeling. We have lost feeling completely. You will have to grow feeling. Only then you can do such techniques. Otherwise, they will not function. You will just intellectualize. And you will just think you are feeling, and nothing will happen. And that's why people come to me and they say, you said this technique is so significant, but nothing happens, and we have tried. But you are missing a dimension, the feeling dimension. So first you will have to grow that. You can try some methods. You can do one thing. If you have a small child in your house, every day for 1 hour, follow that child. And it will be better and more fulfilling than following a Buddha. Allow the child to move. On his force he will move. You also move on your force. Just follow the child. For the first time moving on your force, you will feel a new life energy coming to you. You will become again a child. And look at the child and just follow. He will go to every corner. He will touch everything. Not only touch, he will taste everything. He will smell everything. Just follow. And whatever he is doing, do it. You were also a child once. You had done this. The child is feeling. He is not intellectual. He is not thinking. He feels a smell. He moves to that corner. He sees one apple. He tastes it. Just taste like the child. When he is eating the apple, look at him. He is totally absorbed in it. The whole world has dropped. The world is no more there, only the apple. Even the apple is not, and the child is not, only the eating. Just follow for 1 hour a small child. And that 1 hour will be so enriching. You will become again a child. Your defense mechanism will drop. Your armor will drop. And you will start looking at the world as a child looks from the feeling dimension. And when you feel that now, you can feel, not think, when you feel, now you can feel the texture of the carpet on which you are moving like a child. The pressure, the warmth, and just innocently following a child. You will enjoy it. Men can learn much from children. And sooner or later, your real innocence will erupt. You were a child once. You know what it means to be. You have simply forgotten. The feeling center must start functioning. Only then these techniques will be of help. Otherwise, you will go on thinking that the energy is rising, but there will be no feeling. And if there is no feeling, imagination is impotent, futile. Only a feeling imagination will give you results. You can do many other things. And there is no need to do them specifically. When you go to sleep, just feel your bed. Feel the pillow, the coldness. Just turn on it. Live with the pillow. Close your eyes. Listen to the noise of the air conditioner or of the traffic or anything, of the clock. Just listen. Don't label. Don't say anything. Don't use the mind. Just live in the sensation. In the morning when you for the first moment feel, now the sleep has gone. Don't start thinking. For a few moments, you can be again a child, innocent, fresh. Don't start thinking. Don't think what I'm going to do when I'm going to the office and what train I have to catch. Don't start thinking. You have enough time for that all nonsense. Just wait for a few moments. Just listen to the noise. A bird is singing and the wind is passing through the trees. Or some child is crying. Or the milkman has come and making sounds. Or the milk is being poured. Just anything that happens. Feel it. Be sensitive to it. Open to it. Allow it to happen to you. Your sensitivity will grow. Taking a shower, feel it. All over the body. Every drop of water touching you. Feel the touch, the coldness, the warmth. Try this the whole day whenever you have any chance. And everywhere there is chance. Everywhere. Just breathing, feel the breath. It's movement within, then it's going out. Just feel it. Just feel your own body. You have not felt it. We are so afraid of our own bodies. No one touches his own body with a loving way, in a loving way. Have you ever done any love to your own body? The whole civilization is afraid of touching oneself. Because from the very childhood, it has been denied. It appears masturbatory to touch oneself in a loving way. But if you cannot touch yourself in a loving way, your body will go dull and dead. It has gone. Touch with your both palms, your eyes. Feel the touch. And your eyes will feel fresh and alive immediately. Feel your body all over. Feel your lover's body, your friend's body. Massage is good. Two friends can massage each other and feel each other's body. You will become more sensitive. Create sensitivity and feeling. Then it will be easy for you to do such techniques. And then you can feel livingness arising in you. Then don't leave it anywhere. Allow it to come to the Sahasrara. Remember this. Whenever you do this experiment, don't leave it in between, in the middle. You have to complete it. Take care that no one disturbs you. Because if you leave this energy somewhere in the middle, it can be harmful. It has to be released. So bring it to the head and feel as if your head has become an opening. In India, we have pictured Sahasrara as a lotus. 1,000-petaled lotus. Sahasrara means 1,000 petals. Open in 1,000 petals. Just conceive the lotus. 1,000-petaled lotus. Open. And from every petal, this life energy moving into the cosmos. Again, this is a love act. Now, not with nature, but with the ultimate. Again, it is an orgasm. There are two types of orgasm. One sexual, another spiritual. Sexual is from the lowest center, spiritual is from the highest center. From the highest, you meet the highest. From the lowest, you meet the lowest. Even while actually in sex act, you can do this exercise. Both the partners can do this, moving upwards. And then sex act itself becomes a tantra, sadhana. It becomes meditation. But don't leave it somewhere in the body at any center. Otherwise someone comes and you have some business and some phone call comes and you stop. So do it in such time that no one disturbs you. And don't leave it anywhere. Otherwise that center where you leave the energy will become a wound. And you may create many mental illnesses. So be aware. Otherwise don't do this. This method needs absolute privacy, no disturbance. And it must be done completely. The energy must come to the head and should be released from there. You will have some experiences. When you will start from the sex center feeling that rays are coming up, there will be erection or sensation at the sex center. Many people come to me very afraid and scared. They say whenever we start meditation, and really when we start moving deep, there is erection. What is this? They become afraid. Because in meditation, sex should not be. But you don't know. Life functioning. It is a good sign. It shows now energy is there, alive. It needs now movement. So don't get scared and don't think that something wrong is happening. It is a good sign. When you start meditation, sex centers will become more sensitive, alive, excited. And the excitement in the beginning will be just as any sexual excitement, but in the beginning only. When your meditation will deepen and you will imagine energy flowing up, as the energy will flow, sex centers will become silent, less excited. When the energy will move really to the Sahasrara, there will be no sensation at the sex center. It will be totally still and silent. It will have become completely cool. And the warmth would have come to the head. And this is physical. When your sex center is excited, it becomes hot. You can feel that hotness. It is physical also. When energy will move, sex center will become cool and cool and cool. And the hotness will come to the head. And you will feel dizzy. When the energy will be in the head, you will feel dizzy. Sometimes you will feel even nausea. Because for the first time, so much energy has come to your head. And the head is not acquainted. It has to get tuned. So don't get afraid. Sometimes you may immediately become unconscious. But don't be afraid. It happens. If so much energy moves suddenly, it explodes in the head, you may become unconscious. But that unconsciousness cannot remain more than 1 hour. So don't be afraid. Within 1 hour, automatically, the energy falls back or is released. You cannot be more than 1 hour. I'm saying more hour. Exactly, it is 48 minutes. It cannot be more than that. It has never been in millions of years experiments. So don't be afraid. If you become unconscious, okay. After that unconsciousness, you will feel so fresh, as if for the first time you have been in sleep. Deepest sleep. Yoga calls it with a special name, Yoga Tandra. It calls it yogic sleep. It is very deep. You move to your deepest centers. But don't be afraid. And if your head becomes hot, it is a good sign. Release it. Feel your head is opening like a lotus flower, and the energy is released into the cosmos. As the energy will release, you will feel a coolness coming to you. You have never felt that coolness that comes after that hotness. But do the technique completely. Never do it incomplete. Second, are in the spaces between, feel this as lightning. Just a very similar method with a slight difference. Are in the spaces between, feel this as lightning. You can feel between one center to another as rays coming. You can feel it as lightning, just a jump of light. To some people, the second will be suitable. To some, the first. That's why the modification. There are people who cannot imagine anything gradually. And there are people who cannot imagine anything in jumps. If you can think and imagine gradually, then the first method is good. But if you try the first and suddenly you feel from one center, the rays directly jump to the second, then don't do that. The second is better for you. Then feel like lightning, a spark of light jumping from one to the next. And the second is more real. Because really, light jumps. There is no gradual. It's step-by-step growth. Light is a jump. You look at the electric light. You think it is constant. That is illusion. It looks constant. There are gaps. But the gaps are so small you cannot detect. Electricity is coming in jumps. One jump, then there is a gap, darkness. Another jump, then there is a gap, darkness. But you never feel the gap because the jump is so fast. Otherwise, every moment there is a darkness. Again jump, light comes, then again darkness. Light jumps, never travels. So those who can conceive jumps, for them, the second modification, are in the spaces between, feel this as lightning. So just try. If you feel good, the rays coming gradually, okay. If you don't feel, and rays jump, forget rays. Think it as a lightning in the sky, in the clouds, just jumping from one place to another. For women, the first will be easier. For men, the second. The feminine mind can conceive gradualness more easily, and the male mind jumps more easily. The male mind is jumpy from one to another. There is a subtle uneasiness in the male mind. Female mind is a gradual process. It is not jumpy. That's why feminine and male logic are very different. Man goes on jumping from one thing to another, from one peak to another. And for women, it is inconceivable. But choose. Try. And whatever you feel is good for you, choose that. 2 or 3 things more about this knowledge. With lightning, you may feel such hardness, unbearable. If you feel that, don't try it. Lightning can give you so much heat. If you feel it unbearable, don't try it. Then it is better to go with the first method. If you feel at ease, then it is good. Otherwise, with unease, don't try it. Because sometimes the explosion can be so great that you may become scared about it. And once scared, you will never be able to do it again. Then the fear enters. So one has to be aware always not to get afraid of anything. If you feel that the fear will come, it is so much for you, don't try it. Then the first is better, light rays. Even if you feel with light rays too much hardness coming to you, it depends. And people differ. Then you can conceive light rays as cool. Imagine them as cool. And then instead of feeling warmth, you will feel a coldness with every sense. That too will do the same. So you can decide, try and decide. Remember, with this technique and others also, that if you feel very uneasy, unbearable, anything, don't do it. There are other methods. It may not be for you. Because with unnecessary disturbance in words, you will create more problems than you will solve. In India, because of this, we have developed a particular yoga we call Sahaj Yoga. The Sahaj means spontaneous, easy, natural. Always remember Sahaj. Any technique that you feel is spontaneously coming to you, you feel a deep affinity with it. You feel better with it, more healthy, more alive, more at home. That is the method for you. Move with it. You can trust it. Don't create unnecessary problems. And the inner mechanism is very complex. And if you do something which is too much for you, you may destroy many things. So it is better to move with something which is felt harmonious with you. Third technique, feel cosmos as translucent, ever-living presence. This again is concerned with light. Feel cosmos as translucent, ever-living presence. If you have taken any drug, LSD or something, the whole world around you becomes a light phenomenon of colors, translucent, alive. It is not because of LSD. The world is such, but your eyes have become dull. The LSD is not creating a colorful world around you. The world is already colorful. Nothing is wrong with the world. It is a rainbow of colors. A mystery of colors and translucent light. But your eyes have become dull. That's why you can never feel it in such colorfulness. LSD is just clearing your eyes. It is not making the world colorful. Just helping your dullness to go chemically. And then the whole world erupts before you. A new thing. Even an ordinary chair becomes a marvelous phenomenon. Just a shoe on the floor, and it takes new colors and new hues. Ordinary traffic noise becomes musical. Trees you have always seen and never looked at, you always pass and you know that you have seen them, are born anew. And every leaf of the tree is a miracle. And this is how reality is. It is not LSD which is creating this reality. LSD is just destroying your dullness, your insensitivity. And you are looking at the world as one should really look. But LSD can give you only a glimpse. And if you depend on it, sooner or later, even LSD will not be capable to remove your dullness. Then you will need greater doses. And then you will become immune to greater doses. And really, if then you leave LSD or drugs, the world will be so dull, it has never been. Because now you have become more insensitive. Just a few days before, a girl came to me. She said she cannot feel any orgasm in love act. And she has tried many men. And she cannot feel any orgasm. The peak never comes. And she has become frustrated. So I asked him, why? Just tell me your whole love and sex life and story. Then I discovered that she has been using an electric vibrator. And now in the West they are using. Once you use an electric vibrator as a male penis, then no man can satisfy you. Because the electric vibrator is an electric vibrator. And then your vagina and your clitoris will go dead, dull. And then it will become impossible. And then there is no possibility of any orgasm. You will need now more powerful electric vibrator. And this can go into the very extreme that your total sex organism becomes stony. And this is happening to our every sense. If you use any outer device, you will become dull. LSD will make you dull ultimately. Because you are not growing. If you grow, then it is a different process. Then you become more sensitive. And the more sensitive, the world becomes different. Now you can sense many things you never sensed because you were not sensitive. This technique is based on inner sensitivity. First, grow in sensitivity. Just close your doors, make the room dark, and lit a small candle. Just sit near the candle with a very loving attitude, with a rather prayerful attitude. Just pray to the candle that reveal yourself to me. Take a bath, throw some cold water on your eyes, and then sit in a very prayerful mood before the candle. Look at it. Forget everything else. Just look at the small candle, the flame and the candle. Go on looking at it. After 5 minutes, you will feel many things are changing in the candle. They are not changing in the candle. Remember, your eyes are changing. With a loving attitude, with the whole world closed out, total concentration, with a feeling heart. Just go on looking at the candle and the flame, and then you will discover new colors around the flame. New threads. You were never aware are there. They are there. The whole rainbow is there. Wherever light is, the rainbow is there. Because light is all colors. You need certain sensitivity. Just feel it. Go on looking at it. Even if tears start flowing, go on looking at it. Those tears will help your eyes to be more fresh. Sometimes you will suddenly feel the flame, the candle has become mysterious. It is not the ordinary candle you brought with you. It has taken a new glamour. A subtle divineness has come in it. Go on doing this. You can do this with many other things. One of my friends was telling me that they were experimenting with rocks. 5, 6 people. And I have told them how to experiment. Then he reported they were experimenting with rocks on a lonely river, on a bank. They were trying to feel with hands, with face, touching with the tongue, smelling the rock. In every way, it is possible they were feeling the rock. Just ordinary rocks found on the bank. They tried for 1 hour completely, everyone with a rock. And then the friend reported to me it was a miracle because everyone asked that can we have this rock with us? Because we have fallen in love. Ordinary rock. If you have a sympathetic relationship with it, you will fall in love. And if you don't have that sensitivity, then even with a very beautiful person, you are with a rock. You cannot fall in love. Sensitivity must grow. Your every sense must become more alive. Then you can experiment, feel cosmos as translucent, ever-living presence. Everywhere, life is in many, many shapes, many forms. Life is happening everywhere. Look at it. And everywhere, light is, because the whole phenomena is based on the foundation of light. Look at a leaf, or a flower, or a rock, and sooner or later you will feel rays coming out of it. Just wait patiently. Don't be in a hurry, because nothing is revealed when you are in a hurry. In a hurry, you are dull. Wait silently with anything, and you will discover a new phenomenon which was always there, but you were not alert, aware about it. Feel the whole cosmos as translucent, ever-living presence. And your mind will become completely silent as you feel the presence of ever-living existence. You will be just a part in it, just a note in the great symphony. No burden, no tension. The drop has fallen in the ocean. But great imagination will be needed in the beginning. And if you are trying with other sensitivity trainings, it will be good. You can try in many ways. Just take someone's hand into your hand, close your eyes, feel the life in the other. Feel it, and allow it to move towards you. Feel your own life and allow it to move towards the other. Sit near a tree, touch the bark of the tree, close your eyes, feel the life rising in the tree. And you change immediately. Now, I have heard about some experiments. One doctor was experimenting with some people whether their feelings change their body chemistry. And now he has reported that feelings change biochemistry immediately. He collected their urine before the experiment. The urine was ordinary, normal, a 12-person group. And then each person was put under different stress. Someone was shown a film of horror, anger, violence, cruelty. Just a film. For 30 minutes, he was shown a film of horror. Of course, with the film, his emotions changed. He felt stressed. For the other, a very joyful film was shown. He felt happy. And so on, for 12 persons. And then their urine was taken. And the urine analysis showed that everyone's urine was different now. Chemicals have changed in the body. The person who felt horror is ill now. The person who felt hope, happiness, joy is healthy now. His urine is different. The chemicals of the body are different. You are not aware what you are doing with yourself. You go to see a film, a murder film. What you are doing, you don't know. You are changing your body chemistry. You are reading a detective novel, and you don't know what you are doing. You are killing yourself. Because you will get excited. You will get stressed. A tension will come to you. That is how you enjoy the detective novel. The more tense you become, the more you enjoy it. The more suspicion is what is going to happen, the more you get excited. And you are changing your body chemistry. All these techniques also change your body chemistry. If you feel the whole world as filled with life, light, you are changing your body chemistry. And this is a chain reaction. When your body chemistry changes, you can look at the world and it will look more alive. And if it looks more alive, your body chemistry will change again. And then it becomes a chain. If this method is done for 3 months, you will be living in a different world. Because you are different now. Enough for today?
Secrets. A new commentary. Discourse number 8. Given in Bombay, India.
First question. You said last night that a Krishna, a Christ, a Buddha, they are the climax of human possibilities and growth. And then you said that the yoga and tantra psychology puts no ideal before man, and that to have an ideal is a mistake according to tantra. In this reference, please explain what is the difference between an inspiration and an ideal. What is the difference and significance of inspiration in a seeker's life? And tell whether even being inspired by great men is a mistake on the part of a meditator. A Buddha, a Krishna or a Christ, They are not ideals for you. You are not to follow them. If you follow them, you will miss them. And your own Buddhahood will never be achieved. Buddhahood is the ideal, not the Buddha. Jesus is not the ideal, but the Christ. Buddhahood is different from Gautam Buddha. Christhood is different from Jesus. Jesus is only one of the Christs. You can become a Christ, but you can never become a Jesus. You can become a Buddha, but you can never become Gautam. Gautam became Buddha. You can become a Buddha. Buddhahood is a quality. It is an experience. Of course, when Gautam becomes a Buddha, Gautam has its own individuality. You have your own individuality. When you will become a Buddha, these two Buddhas will not be the same. The innermost experience will be the same, but the expression will be different, absolutely different. No comparison is possible. Only at the innermost core, you will be the same. And why? Because at the innermost core, there is no individuality. On the periphery is the individual. The deeper you move, the individual dissolves. On the innermost core, you are as if no one. On the innermost core, you are just a deep void, a nothingness, a shunya, a zero. And because of this nothingness, there is no difference, because two nothings cannot be different. But two somethings are bound to be different. Two somethings can never be the same, and two nothings can never be different. When one becomes just absolutely nothing, a 0 point, that is similar in a Jesus, in a Krishna, in a Buddha. When you will reach to the ultimate, you will reach to this shunya, this nothingness. But your personality, your expression of that ecstasy is bound to be different. A Mira will dance, a Buddha can never dance. Impossible to conceive. Buddha dancing looks absurd. But Mira sitting under a botri like a Buddha looks also absurd. She will lose everything. She will not be a Mira at all. She will be imitation. The real Mira can be conceived only as dancing in ecstasy, in her own love madness. That is her expression. The innermost core is the same. Buddha sitting under the botri and Mira dancing in mad ecstasy. The innermost core is the same. In the dancing Mira and in the silently sitting Buddha, just like in a statue. The innermost core is the same, but the periphery is different. The dance and sitting silent is just on the periphery. If you move within Mira, the deeper you go, the dance will cease. The Mira will cease. If you go deep in Buddha, the sitting will cease. The Buddha will cease as an individual. You can become a Buddha, but you can never become a Gautam Buddha. That's what is meant. Don't make them your ideals, otherwise you will start imitating them. And what can you do if you imitate? You can force something from out upon yourself. That will be a fake phenomenon. You will become pseudo. Just paint it. You will look Buddha-like, more than Buddha. You can look, but that will be just a look, an appearance. Deep down, you will remain the same. And this will create a duality, a conflict, an inner anguish, and you will be in suffering. You can be in bliss only when authentically you are yourself. You can never feel any happiness when you are acting as someone else. So remember, Tantra message. You are the ideal. You are not to imitate anyone. You are to discover yourself. Looking at a Buddha, no need to imitate him. Looking at a Buddha, this possibility hits deep in you that something of the beyond can happen. Buddha is just a symbol that something has happened to this man. And if it can happen to this man, it can happen to every man. Then the whole possibility of humanity is revealed. In a Jesus, in a Mira, in a Chaitanya, just the possibility is revealed. The future is revealed. You need not be whatsoever you are. Something more is possible. So Buddha is just a symbol of the future. Don't imitate him. Rather, let his life, his being, his phenomena happening become a new thirst in you. That's all. You must not be content with yourself as you are right now. Let Buddha become a discontent in you. A thirst to transcend, to go beyond, to move into the unknown. When you reach to the peak of your own being, you will know what happened to Buddha under the botri, or what happened to Jesus on the cross, or what was happening in Mira when she was dancing in the streets. You will know. But your own expression will be your own. You are not going to be a Mira or a Buddha or a Jesus. You are going to be yourself. And you have never been before. You are unique. So nothing can be said. You are not predictable. What will happen? How you will manifest it? Whether you will sing, dance, paint, or remain silent, no one can say anything. And this is good, that nothing can be said, nothing can be predicted. That is the beauty. If it is predictable that you will be like this, you become a mechanical thing. Predictions are possible only about mechanical devices. Human consciousness is unpredictable. That is its freedom. So when Tantra says don't follow ideals, it doesn't mean that deny the Buddha. No, it is not a denial. Really, it is how you can find your own Buddhahood. Following another, you will miss it. following your own path, you can gain it, you can achieve it. Someone asked a Zen master, Bokuju, that your master, Bokuzu's master, was a very famous man, a very great man. So someone asked, are you following your master really? Bokuju said, yes, I am following him. But the man who asked the question was disturbed, because it was well known all over the country that Bokuju is not following his master at all. So the man says, are you trying to deceive me? Everyone knows, and you are also aware, that you are not following your master at all. And still you say that you are following? What do you mean? So Bokuju said, I am following my master because my master never followed his master. This is what I have learned from him. He was himself. This is how a Buddha, a Jesus is to be followed. And this is how. They are unique. If you are really following them, you must be unique. Buddha never followed anyone. And he achieved enlightenment only in that moment when he had stopped completely following. When he became himself. When he left all paths, all teachings, all doctrines, then he could achieve. If you follow him, you are not following him. It is not paradoxical, it only looks. If you follow him as a dead routine, imitate him, you are not following him. He never followed anyone. And then only he could become the peak. Understand him, don't follow him. And then a subtle following will happen. And that is inner, not imitation. In Nietzsche's great work, Thus Spake Zarathustra, the last message of Zarathustra to his disciples is, beware of me. Now I have told everything that was to be told to you. Now, beware of me, don't follow me. Just forget me and leave me and go away. This is the last message of all the great masters. No great master would like to make you puppets, because he is killing you then. He is a murderer. He would help you to be yourself. And if you cannot be yourself in the intimacy, in communication with your master, then where you will be? The master means an opportunity for you to be yourself. Only small minds, narrow minds, who pretend to be masters and are not masters, will try to impose themselves upon you. Great masters will help you to grow in your own path. And great masters will create every barrier so that you don't become a victim of following. They will create every barrier. They will not allow you, because your tendency will be to follow. It is easy. Imitation is easy. To be authentic is arduous. And when you imitate, you don't feel responsible for it. The master is responsible. No great master has ever allowed anyone to imitate. He will create every hindrance so that you cannot imitate him. He will throw you by every means to yourself. I am reminded, one Chinese saint was celebrating his master's birthday, Enlightenment Day. Many followers has come. They asked, but we never heard that this man was your master. We never knew that you belonged to this man. That old man was dead. Only just today we came to hear and know that you are celebrating your master's Enlightenment Day. So this man was your master. But how? We never saw you with him. So the man replied, I had been with him, but he refused. He refused to become my master. Because of his refusal, I could become myself. And now whatsoever I am is because of his refusal. I am his disciple. He could have accepted me. Then I would have thrown all responsibility on his soldiers. But he refused me. And he was the last man. And there was no comparison. And when he refused, I couldn't go to anyone else. Because he was the only shelter. And if he has refused, then there is no meaning, no purpose. I left going to anyone. He was the last. If he had accepted me, I would have forgotten myself. But he refused, and refused very rudely. And the refusal became a shock and a challenge. And I decided, no, I will not go to anyone. If this man has refused, then there is no one worth going. And then I started working on my own. And only then, by and by, I realized why he has refused. He has thrown myself to me. And then only I knew that he has accepted me. Otherwise, why he should refuse? This looks contradictory. But this is how deeper dynamism of consciousness works. Masters are mysterious. You cannot judge them. You cannot be sure what they are doing. Unless the whole thing happens. And only retrospectively you will be able to know what they were doing. Now, it is impossible. On the middle path, you cannot judge what is happening, what is being done. But one thing is certain, imitation cannot be allowed. Inspiration is a different thing. Through inspiration, you start on the journey. Not on any effort of copying. You move on your own path. Inspiration is just a challenge. A thirst has arisen. Now you will move. Tantra says, be inspired, but don't become imitators. Always remember that you are your own goal. No one else can be. And unless you achieve that point where you can say, I have achieved my destiny, now I am fulfilled. Don't stop before that. Go on transcending. Go on being in discontent. Go on moving. And if you don't make any ideal, then you can be enriched by everyone. The moment you get obsessed with an ideal, you are closed. If you get obsessed with Buddha, then Jesus is not for you. Then how Muhammad can be for you? Then you are obsessed with an ideal. Then you are trying to copy it. Then all the contraries, all the different ones are inimical in your mind. How a follower of Mahavir can conceive to be open to Muhammad? Impossible. Totally different. Not only different, contraries. They look polar opposites. So if you put both in your mind, you will be in a deep conflict. You cannot put, that's why followers are always enemies of others' followers. They create enmity in the world. A Hindu cannot conceive that Muhammad can be enlightened. A Muhammadan cannot conceive that Mahavir can be enlightened. A follower of Krishna cannot conceive that Jesus is enlightened. Looks so sad. Krishna looks so blissful. How? A blissful state. Krishna's bliss, Jesus' sadness. Total opposite poles. Jesus' follower cannot conceive Krishna to be enlightened. Because so much misery in the world and he is playing on his flute. Looks too much selfish. And the whole world is suffering and he goes on dancing with his gopis. A follower of Jesus will think this profane. But as a followers, a Jesus and a Buddha and a Krishna can exist together without any problem, without any conflict. Rather, they will enjoy each other very much. But followers, why this is so? And this will be so because there is a deep psychological reason. The follower is not concerned with Muhammad or Mahavir, he is concerned with himself. If he thinks both are good, then he will be in difficulty. Then whom to follow and what to do? Because Muhammad is with his sword in his hand. And Mahavir says that even to kill an insect, and for lives you will suffer. And this Muhammad is with his sword. So what to do? Muhammad goes to war. And Mahavir escapes from life completely. He escapes so much that he is afraid even to breathe. Because while you breathe, many lives, many lives are killed through it. He is afraid to breathe and Muhammad goes to war. So how a follower of either can make accommodation for the opposite? Then his heart will be divided and he will be in constant conflict. To avoid this, he says everyone else is wrong, only this is right. This is his problem. But this is created because he is trying to imitate. There is no need. If you are not an imitator, then you can taste the water of many rivers and many wells. And there is no problem if the taste differs, rather it is beautiful. You are enriched by it. Then you are open to Muhammad and Mahavir and Christ and Zarathustra and everyone. They all inspire you towards yourself. They are not ideals. They all help you to be yourself. They are not pointing towards themselves, they are pointing towards you in different ways, in different methods. They are pointing to one goal, and that is you. Lara Huxley has written a book. The name of the book, You Are Not the Target. But I tell you, you are the target. Of all these, of Buddha, of Mahavir, of Krishna, of Christ, they all indicate towards you are the target. You are the goal. Through you, life is striving to achieve a unique peak. Be happy about it. Be grateful about it. Life is trying to achieve a unique goal through you. And that goal can be achieved only through you. No one else can achieve it. You are meant for it. You are destined for it. So don't waste time following others. But that doesn't mean that don't get inspired. Really, if you are not following anyone, you can get easily inspired. If you are following, you have become dead. You will not get inspired. Inspiration is an openness. Following is being closed. Second question. You spoke of Western psychology being rooted in Freudian concepts of pathology and Eastern psychology using the supernormal as the base from which to evaluate man. But as I look around me in the modern world, I see that most people fit Freud's categories of pathology. 1 in a million fit the category of supernormal, and a small number actually fit the societal ideal of normal. Why is there so much pathology nowadays? And what would you consider to be the definition of normal? Many things will have to be understood. It is not so. It is not that very few are there who achieve their peaks. Many are there, but you don't have eyes to see them. Whenever you look around you, you see that which you can see. How can you see that which you cannot see? Your capacity to see determines many things. You hear that which you can hear, not that which is there. If a Buddha passes, you may not be able to recognize. And you were there when Buddha passed really, and you missed him. You were there. You were there when Jesus was alive, but you crucified him. Difficult to see, because you see in your own ways. You have concepts, you have categories, you have attitudes. Through them you look at them. Jesus looked to you like a criminal. When Jesus was crucified, he was crucified with two other criminals. On each side was a thief. 3 persons were crucified together, and Jesus was just between two thieves. And not... Why? He was considered to be one somehow immoral criminal. And you were there to judge. Even if Jesus comes right now, you will judge again in the same way, because your judgment, your criterion has not changed. Jesus lived, stayed with everyone and anyone. He stayed in a prostitute's house. The whole village went against him. But his values were different. The prostitute came, washed his feet with her tears, and said, I am guilty, I am a sinner. And you are my only hope. If you come to my home, I will be relieved of my guilt. I will become alive again. If Jesus can come to my house, then I am accepted. So Jesus went. He stayed there, where the whole town went against him. What type of man is he? He's staying with a prostitute. But for Jesus, love is the value. And no one has given such a loving invitation ever. He couldn't say no. And if Jesus had said no, he was not an enlightened man. Then he was just seeking after social respectability. He was not seeking after respectability. In another village, the whole town came to Jesus with a woman who had sinned. And in the Old Testament it is written that when someone sins, she should be stoned to death. It is not he should be, it is she should be stoned to death. Because only women sin. Man never sins, because all these scriptures are written by men. And this is a grave problem. So they asked Jesus. And they were playing a trick. Because if Jesus says, no, don't kill this woman, don't ye be the judges, then they will say, then you are against the scripture. And if Jesus says, yes, kill this woman, stone her to death, then we'll say, where has gone your message, love the enemy? And where has gone your message, judge ye not, that he should not be judged? So they were playing a trick. They were creating a dilemma, a logical dilemma. Whatsoever Jesus says, he will be trapped. But you cannot trap an enlightened man. It is impossible. It is impossible. And the more you try to trap him, you will get trapped with him. So Jesus says, the scripture is absolutely correct. But come forward only those who have never sinned. Take the stones in your hands, murder this woman to death. But only those who have never sinned. The crowd started disappearing. Those who were standing in front went back. Because who will stone this woman? But they became enemies of Jesus. And then I said, I mean you. You have always been here. You cannot recognize. You cannot see. You are blind. That's why you always feel the world is bad. There is no enlightened man. Everyone is pathological. It is not so. But you can see only pathology because you are pathological. You can understand illness because you are ill. You cannot understand health because you have never been healthy. So the language of health simply escapes you. I have heard about one Jew mystic, Balsam. Someone came and asked Balsam, which is more significant? What is more valuable, wealth or wisdom? The man was asking this question for a reason. So Balsam laughed and he said, of course, wisdom is more significant and more valuable. Then the man said, then Balsam, the second question. I always see you, the wise man, waiting on the wealthy. You always go to rich person's houses. And I have never seen any wealthy man waiting on you, the wise one. And you say, wisdom is more valuable than wealth. Then explain me this phenomenon. So Balsam laughed and said, yes. Wise men go to the wealthy ones because they are wise and they know the value of wealth. And wealthy are just wealthy, simply wealthy, nothing else, and they cannot understand the value of wisdom. Of course I go, because I understand the value of wealth. And those poor idiots, they are just wealthy, nothing else. They cannot understand the value of wisdom, so they never come to me. If you see a saint going to a palace, you will say, okay, this man is not a saint. Finished. Because you look through your own eyes. Wealth to you has a meaning. You can follow only a saint who renounces wealth because you are wealth obsessed. You look through you. And whatsoever you say is more about you than about anyone else. It is always about you. You are the referent. When you say Buddha is not enlightened, you don't mean that. You simply say, for me, he doesn't look enlightened. But who are you? And does his enlightenment depend in any way on your attitude, your approach, your standpoint? You have fixed categories of thought, and you go on using them. To you, pathology is recognizable. Enlightenment is not. And you cannot understand that which is higher than you. Remember, you can understand only that which is lower than you. Or at the most on the same level. You cannot understand the higher, that is impossible. To understand the higher, you will have to move higher. You can understand the lower. Look at it in this way. A madman cannot understand you. Impossible for a madman to understand you. He looks through his madness. But you can understand a madman. He is lower than you. The normal human being can understand abnormals who have gone below pathological. He can understand higher ones. Even if Freud is afraid. Jung has written in his memoirs that once it happened to him that he wanted to analyze Freud's dreams. He was one of his greatest disciples. And they were traveling to United States on a ship. So many days they were together. And one day, Jung gathered courage, and he was the most intimate in those days, and he asked Freud, I would like to analyze your dreams. So just tell me any dream, and for many, many days we will be together, so I will analyze. So what Freud said, what do you mean? If you analyze my dreams, I will lose my authority. I cannot tell you my dreams. The dreams, the same pathology. The same illness will be revealed, as he is revealing in others' dreams. He says, I cannot lose my authority. I cannot tell you about my dreams. Freud, the greatest psychologist of this age, is prone to all the illnesses that anyone is. When Jung said that I am going to leave you, he fell from his chair and became unconscious. Swooned. For hours he was unconscious. So much shocked. Just by leaving a disciple. That a disciple says, I am going to leave you. If you say to a Buddha that I am going to leave you, can you conceive that he falls down and becomes unconscious? All the 10,000 disciples will leave him. He will be so happy. So happy that it is so good that you have gone. Why? Your psychologists also are from you. They are not from above. They have same problems. So one psychoanalyst goes to another psychoanalyst to be analyzed. It is not different as one doctor goes to another doctor to be treated. But for doctors, it is okay. They can be forgiven. But for psychologists, it seems absurd. One psychoanalyst going to another to be analyzed. What does it mean? He is an ordinary man. Psychology is just a profession. Buddha is not in any profession. He is not an ordinary man. He has awakened to a new reality. He has reached to a new state of being. Now he can look from a peak. He can understand you. You cannot understand him. And howsoever he tries, it is really impossible to make you understand him. You will go on misunderstanding him unless you are caught not by his words but by his personality. Unless you are caught by his magnetism, not by his words. If you are caught by his magnetism and you become just like an iron piece, only then you will be able to understand him. Otherwise you will misunderstand. That is the reason you can't see. But the world is always with its own enlightened persons. Pathology is recognized because we are pathological. So we can see and understand. Secondly, even if there is one, a single human being who has achieved enlightenment, ever, throughout human history, even if there is one Buddha, he is enough to show you the possibility. If it can happen to one human being, why it cannot happen to you? If one seed can become flower, every seed potentially has become flower. You may be just a seed, but now you know your future. Now you are aware that much more is possible. But with human mind, the reverse is happening. It has been happening always. You see a cocoon, and then it breaks, and the butterfly moves. With man, it seems to be quite the reverse. Man is born as a butterfly, and then he enters the cocoon. Every child is more Buddha-like than he ever will be again. Look at a child. Look at the eyes. They are more Buddha-like. The way he sits, the way he moves, the grace, the beauty, the living in the moment. Even his anger is beautiful. It is so total. And whenever anything is total, it is beautiful. Look at a child in anger, jumping and screaming. Just look. Don't be concerned with yourself that he is disturbing you. Just look at the phenomena. That anger is beautiful because the child is so totally in it. Nothing is left behind. He is anger. And he is so authentic. Nothing is being suppressed. He is not withholding. He has moved and become anger. Look at the child. When he loves, when he welcomes you, when he comes near to you, he is more like a Buddha. But soon, you will help him, the society will help him to enter the cocoon, and then he will die in that. From cradle, we enter into grave immediately. That's why so much pathology is there, because no one is allowed to be natural. The pathology is forced. You are caged, imprisoned, in a dead pattern, and then your spontaneous being suffers, and you cannot come out of it. That's why so much pathology is there. This pathology is man-created, and the more man gets civilized, the more pathological he becomes. So now this is the criterion. If in your country there are less madmen, no, well, you are less civilized. If in your country the madmen are growing, and everyone is going insane, and everyone is going to the psychoanalyst, no, well, you are the most civilized country in the world. When any country achieves the optimum, everyone would have become mad. Civilization drives you mad, because it is not allowing you to be your natural self. Everything is suppressed. And with suppression, everything is distorted. You cannot even breathe naturally. Anything else is out of question. Even your breath is unnatural. You cannot breathe deeply, because the society doesn't allow to breathe deeply. Because if you take deep breaths, you cannot suppress your instincts. If you want to suppress anything, you can observe in yourself. If you are angry and you want to suppress it, what you will do? Immediately you will stop breathing. With anger, breathing goes deep, because anger will need a heart flow of blood in you. Anger will need more oxygen. Anger will need some chemical changes within you. And through breathing, those changes happen. So whenever you feel angry and want to repress it, you cannot breathe. You will take shallow breaths. Look at a child. Just tell him not to do something. Immediately his breathing will be shallow. Then he cannot breathe deeply. Because if he takes deep breaths, he cannot follow your command. Then he will do whatever he likes to do. So no one is taking even deep breaths. If you take deep breaths, your sex center is massaged from within, and the society is against it. Take slow breaths, shallow breaths. Don't go deep, so the sex center is not hit. Really, civilized man has become incapable of deep sexual orgasm, because he cannot take deep breaths. In love act, your breathing must be so deep that your whole body becomes involved. Otherwise, you will not achieve orgasm. And then you will feel frustrated. So many people come to me and they say, there is no pleasure in sex. We go on doing it like a mechanical act, and only energy is lost. And after it, we feel frustrated, depressed. The reason is not sex. The reason is only they are not getting in it totally. It becomes local. So only semen is released, and they feel weak, and nothing is gained through it. If the whole body is involved like an animal, and every cell of the body is excited, it starts shaking, and the whole body becomes an electric force, and feeling moves, and you become egoless, headless. The thinking is not there. You are the body, moving in a rhythm, vibrating in a rhythm. Then you will have a deep pleasure out of it, relaxed, in a certain sense fulfilled. But this cannot happen, because you cannot take deep breaths. You are so afraid. Look at the body. The body has two poles. One pole is for intake. Your head is for intake. The upper pole is for intake. Food, air, impressions, thoughts, anything you intake from the upper part. This is one pole. The lower body is for release. It is not for intake. You cannot take anything in from the lower. The lower body is to release, to relax. You take from the upper, and from the lower, you release it out. But the civilized man only takes and never releases. That creates pathology. You go mad. It is just like eating food and then going on storing it and never defecating. You will go mad. The other pole has to be used. If someone is a miser, automatically he becomes constipatory. Look at any miser. He will be suffering by constipation. Miserliness is a sort of spiritual constipation. Go on hoarding. Don't leave anything. Those who are against sex, without knowing what they are doing, are misers. They go on taking food, but they will not release the sex energy. Then they will go mad. There is no need to release it only from the sex center. There is another possibility to release it from sacral. That's what Tantra teaches. But it must be released. You cannot hoard it. Nothing can be hoarded in the world. The world is a movement. It is a river. Take it and give. If you take in and never give, you will become mad. That's what is happening. Everyone is taking and no one is giving. You become afraid when the moment of giving comes. You want just to take. Even love, you want someone should love you. The basic need is you should love someone. Then you will be released. If someone loves you, that will not help, because you are taking in again. These both poles must be balanced, then health happens. And that's what I call normal being. A normal being is whose take in and give out is parallel balanced, is normal. Is normal. I call abnormal the man whose taking in is too much. and giving out is unbalanced. He is not giving out at all. Even if he gives sometimes, it has to be forced. It is not his own. You can snatch something from him. You can force him to give, but he will not give. His giving out is just like enema. It is not natural. You can force, so he will defecate. But he is not defecating. He is not ready. This is abnormal. Just going on holding everything. Then you will go mad because your whole system is disturbed. This is abnormal, and supernormal is one who gives, never takes in. These are three things. Abnormal, who takes in, never gives out. Normal, who's given and give and take is balanced. Supernormal, who never takes in, only gives. A Buddha is a giver. A madman is a taker. He is the opposite pole of Buddha. And if both are balanced, you are a normal man. At least be normal. Because if you cannot be normal, you will fall down and you will become abnormal. If you don't want to be normal, then transcend it and become supernormal. That's why dawn, giving, is so much emphasized in all religions. Give. Whatsoever it is, give. And don't think in terms of taking in. Then you will become supernormal. But that's a very far off thing. First, be normal. Be balanced. Whatsoever you take in, give it back to the world. You be just the passage. Don't hold. You will never become mad. You will never be neurotic, schizophrenic, psychotic, or whatsoever may be the name. My definition of normal man is one who is balanced. Absolutely balanced. Nothing is retained. He takes the breath in and then allows it to move out. The coming in breath and the going out breath are just the same, balanced. Try to be balanced. And always remember, you must give back that which you have received. You will be alive, healthy, silent, peaceful, happy. A deep rhythm will happen to you. And this rhythm happens by give and take balance. But we go on thinking in terms of getting in more and more. Whatsoever you get in without giving it out will create disturbance, tension, suffering. You will become a hell. Before you take something in, always think to release something out. Have you observed that you always emphasize the breath that goes in? You never emphasize the breath that goes out. You take the breath in, and then the body throws the breath out. Reverse it. You will be more normal. Emphasize the outgoing breath. Throw the breath out as much as you can, and leave the body to take in. When you take in, and you have not released, your lungs are filled with carbon dioxide, and you go on taking in, and you never release the whole lungs. So you go on forcing the carbon dioxide inwards. Your breathing becomes shallow, because the whole lungs are filled. First, throw it out, and forget about taking in. The body will take care of itself. The body has its own wisdom, and it is more wise than you. Throw the breath out, and forget taking in. Don't be afraid, you are not going to die. The body will take in, and it will take in as much as is needed. As much you have thrown out, it will take in, and the balance will be there. If you take in, then you will disturb the balance, because the holding mind is there. I have been staying in many, many houses. I see they have collected so many things. They cannot live. There is no space to live. And they go on holding. Whatsoever, they go on holding. And they think someday it will be needed. Whatsoever is not needed, don't hold it. And if something is needed more than, by someone else more than you, it is better to give it. Be a giver, and you will never be pathological. All the old civilizations were based on dawn, on giving. And this modern civilization is based on holding. That's why more people are going abnormal, neurotic. And everyone is asking from where to get. And no one is asking from where to go and give, to whom to give. The last question. Daily in each of your talk, you speak of awareness, total awareness, uninterrupted awareness. You also said it cannot be achieved by mind, by repeating the thought, it is to be felt. But how can one feel unless one achieves it? What is that feel which is the precursor of achievement? How to imagine or project that which has not yet happened? That too by excluding mind. What is the whole process? How can it be made feasible? When I say awareness cannot be attained by mind, I mean you cannot attain it by thinking about it. You can go on thinking about and about, you will be moving in a circle. When I say it cannot be attained by the mind, I mean it cannot be attained by thinking. You have to practice it. You have to do it. It can be attained only by doing, not by thinking. The first thing. So don't go on thinking what awareness is, how to achieve it, what will be the result. Don't go on thinking. Start doing it. Walking on the street, walk with awareness. Difficult. And you will go on forgetting. But don't be afraid. Whenever you remember again, be alert. Take every step with full alertness, knowingly. remaining with this step, not allowing the mind to move somewhere else. While eating, eat, chew with awareness. Whatsoever you are doing, don't do it mechanically. And there is difference. And when I say it can be felt only, the meaning is, for example, I can raise my hand mechanically. Then I can raise my hand with full alertness. My mind conscious that my hand is being raised. Do it. Try it once mechanically and then with alertness. And you will feel the change. The quality changes immediately. Walk with alertness and you walk differently. A different grace comes to your walking. You move more slowly, more beautifully. If you walk mechanically, because you know how to walk, there is no need to be alert. The walking is ugly. There is no grace in it. Do whatsoever you are doing with alertness and feel the difference. When I say feel, I mean observe. First do it mechanically and then do it with awareness and feel the difference. And you will be able to feel the difference. For example, if you eat with awareness, you cannot eat more than is needed by the body. People go on coming to me and they say, put us on diet. The weight is going on increasing. The body is going on hoarding. Put on us diet. I tell them, don't think of diet. Think of consciousness. By dieting, nothing will happen. You cannot do it. You will do it one day and the next day it will go. You cannot continue it. Rather eat with awareness. Quality changes. If you eat with awareness, you will chew more. With unconscious mechanical habits, you simply go on pushing things into the stomach. You are not chewing at all. You are just going on stuffing. And then there is no pleasure. And because there is no pleasure, you need more food to get the pleasure. There is no taste, so you need more food. Just be alert and see what happens. If you are alert, you will chew more. You will feel the taste more. You will feel the pleasure of eating. And much more time will be taken. If you eat one in half an hour time, your meal, with full awareness, the same quantity of meal, you will need 1.5 hours. Twice. Half an hour, you will have eaten only 1/3 of your quantity. And you will feel more fulfilled. You have enjoyed more. And when the body enjoys, it says you when to stop. When the body has not enjoyed at all, it never says when to stop, so you go on. And then the body becomes dull. You never hear what the body is saying. You are eating without being there, that creates the problem. Be there. And every process will be slowed. And the body will itself say, no more. And when the body says, that is the right moment. And if you are aware, you cannot trespass body's order. You will stop. So allow your body to say something. Body is saying every moment, but you are not there to hear it. Be alert, you will hear it. And when I say feel it, I know. How can you feel awareness without being aware? I'm not saying that you can feel Buddha's enlightenment right now. But one has to start somewhere. You may not get the whole ocean, but a drop, just a drop, will give you the taste. And the taste is the same. Even for a single moment you can become aware. You have tasted Buddhahood momentarily, a glimpse of it. But now you know more. And this will never happen to you through thinking. It will happen only through feeling. Emphasis is on feeling because emphasis is on lived experience. Thinking is false. You can go on thinking about love and creating theories. You can get even a doctorate on the thesis of love, what love is, and without ever being in love. You don't know what love is. You have never felt it. You can grow in knowledge without being in any way growing in being. And there are two different dimensions. You can go on growing in knowledge. Your head will go on growing bigger and bigger. You will remain the same tiny self. Nothing is growing really, only accumulation. When you start feeling things, you grow. Your being grows. And one has to start somewhere. So start. There may be errors, bound to be. You will go on forgetting. Nature. So don't get frustrated. Don't throw the effort away that I cannot do it. You can do it. Because the same possibility exists in you as it exists in Jesus or Buddha. You are the seed. You are not lacking anything at all. Just an arrangement. You are just a chaotic whole. Everything is there. You can become a Buddha. But a reorganization of your qualities is needed. Right now you are chaotic because there is no arrangement. And the arrangement comes in when you start being aware. Just by being aware, things start falling in line. And this chaos that you are becomes a symphony. Enough for today?